All right, so what I'm drawing here is the modes as they relate to Ionian, which is the major scale as you know it. You can see from my spacing here, I did the best I can to make it obvious where the half steps are. The rest are whole steps. Nothing crazy here. If you studied any music theory at all, you already know this. What I want you to know about the modes is there's one for every single note in a scale. So like say for example we're in the key of C major, then the Ionian scale is C major. It's the standard scale. It's the standard mode. The next mode is Dorian, and we keep all of the same half steps and whole steps here. We stay relative to the main key, and then we redraw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so the pattern of half steps changes now. And you'll see because the third is a minor third, that makes this a minor mode. Okay, I'm also going to say this is like this standard major scale. This is a minor scale, but it's not the natural standard minor scale that you know or that you first learn when going through music theory. Okay, so Phrygian is going to start here. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so your half steps are different. Now the half step is in between the first and second scale degree and in between the fifth and sixth. So so that makes this minor because the third is a minor third away. So this is another minor mode. Okay, next we're on to well, here let me do this. Okay, that's based on 1. Dorian is based on 2. Phrygian is based on 3. Okay, I'll even circles. So based on the fourth scale degree, we have Lydian. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. This is major. You can tell because the third is a major third away. What's the difference between this major mode and the original major mode, where the first half step occurs? Instead of between 3 and 4, the half step is between 4 and 5. And I'll talk about how these change the qualities of the scale here in a little bit. So that was based off of the 4th scale degree. Next we have Mixolydian. This is based off the 5th scale degree. 1, 2, 3, 4, much like the standard major scale. 5, 6, 7, and 8. So here is where it differs from the standard major scale. Okay. Next we have Aeolian, based on the 6th degree. And this is, oh, sorry, that was major. This is minor. And this is your natural minor. It's the one you've probably already learned. It goes 1, 2, 3, just like, or so it's minor. 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. See how all these are lining up? It's because we built all of these off the original. Okay, got one more to go. This is called Locrian. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So this one makes me think like loco or crazy in Spanish, because we've got these half steps so close to each other. It creates a tritone in between the 1 and 5, which gives it a very outside the box sound. That's a more of a diminished sound, and that's built off the 7th degree. Next we'd be back to Ionian, and I'll just prove it. Ionian again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We recognize that from the beginning. This music's just this giant circle. So 1 again. Oh, I'm going to call this diminished. Okay, and major. All right, so in a second I'm going to show you the patterns on the fretboard, but knowing them this way is how you can translate this to any instrument. Keyboard or saxophone, clarinet, I mean, whatever, whatever you want to play, or even sing. This is a way that you can think about it. So what if instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I was saying do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? Then at Dorian, I would think about it as like going from re to re. It's like re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re. That's how I process it in my mind with a fixed do solfege system. Phrygian, I would think mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, re, mi. Okay? So like, that's the easiest way to conceptualize it, I think, if you're going to be singing. I want to really quickly talk about the qualities of these modes in relations to the standard major and minor scale. So Ionian, obviously standard, that's what you're used to. Dorian, compared to Aeolian, which is your natural minor scale, we have a lifted 6, we have a raised 6. Here we have a raised 6, and here is normally flat. Okay, so that gives the Dorian a minor feel, but with a little bit of a lift. So it's not as minor. Okay, Phrygian is like the minor scale, except it has a flatted 2. So rather than this one has more of a lift, this one has more of a, what would be the opposite of lift? It's just a lower feeling. It's a darker feeling. Lydian, compared to the standard major scale, has a raised 4th, so it's more lifted. Has a brighter sound. Mixolydian is like the major scale, except the 7 is flatted. So it's like major, but darker. Not as lifted. Locrian is kind of its own thing. It's just like super minor. And very tense. Okay, so the modes in order like most lifted, most, I'll say happy and sad. Let's just use happy and sad. On this side of the scale is Lydian. Then your Ionian. And then Mixolydian. That's your major. Okay, and then as we go away from that, we have Phrygian. Oh, sorry. Let's start with Dorian. Is the most lifted of the minor. We have Aeolian. And then we have Phrygian. Then we have Locrian. Sad or tense. I'm going to say these are sad or tense. Scales. Minor. Modes and diminished. Okay. So you've got a gradient here. And if you know this gradient, then you can use these modes to paint brighter and darker pictures. That's what I should have used the first time, I think. Yeah, so like if there's a minor chord, a major chord, and you're playing a C major, but you want to add some flavor to the scale you're playing over it, you could play a Lydian scale, and then that just basically means you're going to lift the fourth note. In that case, it would be C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, and that F sharp's going to give it a different color, but it'll still work over a C because the first, the third, and the fifth are still the same. First, third, fifth, same. First, third, fifth, same. We can apply that to the Mixolydian as well. First, third, fifth are the same, but the seventh is different. So that scale would also have a different flavor over a major chord. It'd be C, D, E, F, G, A, B flat, and C. It'll still work over the chord, but it's going to give it a different color.